Good morning, everybody. Christine Marconi here in the NBC4i Streaming Center, joined by the man of the day because it is 2021, the Ohio general election. Secretary of State Frank LaRose joining us bright and early this morning. Not even bright outside, still dark out. You guys are ready to go. Polls are open in Ohio. How are you feeling today, Secretary of State?
We're feeling good. And Christine, in the Army, we called this time of day 0 dark 30. It means it's early, but the polls have already been open for 30 minutes. And as my countdown clock says, they're going to be open for another 12 hours and 30 minutes until 7:30 p.m. tonight. It's an exciting day in Ohio. Local elections, of course, here in Central Ohio, there's a congressional special election on the ballot, and it's easy to vote. So there's no good reason for skipping it. And also, if you've got that absentee ballot sitting on your kitchen table and you haven't mailed it in, it's too late to put it in the mail, but you can still get it down to the Board of Elections as long as it's down there by 7:30 tonight. So a lot of good options available.
Absolutely. And I know it's not a presidential election. We saw a great turnout for the presidential election 1 year ago. Can you believe it was a year ago? It feels like yesterday.
Absolutely.
But today is also such a big day. We've got lots of local issues, and like you said, the 15th congressional district here in Ohio, but school boards as well and different things like that. Can you talk about kind of in like an odd number year why these elections are also equally as important as those big presidential ones?
Some would argue even more important. I always say we pay attention to who is running for the White House every 4 years. That's important. But what probably has a bigger impact on our daily lives is not the person that lives at the White House, but the person that works at the schoolhouse or the courthouse or at City Hall. These are these elections that are so close to home that impact the kind of schools our children are educated in, how safe our communities are, how prosperous our communities are. These are the decisions that are being made right now. And we're seeing some excitement, as you mentioned, a lot of energy right now around school board races. And that's great that people are paying attention. I always used to call those races the most important race that nobody pays attention to, but people are paying attention to school board races now, and they're doing their research, and they recognize exactly how important that is. We're also seeing that excitement in the early voting numbers. I announced last night that we've already had over 377,000 early votes. That's a 18% increase over 2019. And so I think that a lot of people tried voting early and absentee for the first time last year and like it and want to continue doing it. I think we're going to see good turnout today as people are excited to be part of these local elections that really, really do make a difference.
Absolutely. So if you're headed out the door within the next few minutes to the next few hours, what do people need to know as they head to their polling locations, and what do they need to make sure they have with them?
Yeah, so three things real quick. First of all, you want to be an informed voter, and I get it. Sometimes with these local races, you may not know who's running for city council, who's running for judge. So just do a little bit of research, and that can start at voteohio.gov, where if you that's our website, the official Ohio Secretary of State website. You type in your name, you can print off what's called the sample ballot, or just display it there on your screen, and you'll see what's going to be on your ballot. So there'll be no surprises when you come to the polling location. Maybe just spend a few minutes. You can even phone a friend and talk to them about how they vote and who they wanted to support and make your decisions. The other thing that you can find there at voteohio.gov is the location for your polling, for where your polls are. Voteohio.gov is the place to go to find your polling location. And then the last thing is you want to bring a state ID or driver's license. If you don't have one of those, there's a whole list of alternative forms of identification available right there on the website. And here's one last thing to remember. Thank those poll workers, these hardworking men and women that are out there running the election today. Think about this. Close to 40,000 Ohioans are staffing close to 4,000 polling locations around the state today. It's a long day for them. These are Democrats. These are Republicans. These are patriotic Ohioans that are doing an important civic duty. So just give them a word of thanks.
So here in Ohio, we get our election results pretty quickly because of the system that we have in place in order to count those early and absentee ballots earlier than starting, I guess, when polls close, like a lot of states do. Can you kind of explain that process and how things are different here in Ohio and why we're able to do that so quickly?
This is just another example of how Ohio runs what I really think are the best elections in the country. I think that we're the gold standard for other states to follow. And if you saw some of the problems that occurred last year where other states took days and days to count their ballots. One of the things that led to that, and this is predictable as far as I can tell, is that they didn't even start cutting open absentee ballot envelopes until Election Day. Now, in many cases, you had boards of elections with huge vaults the size of this room, just full of stacks of postal bins and unopened envelopes. And so, of course, it was going to take them days and days to go through that. That's not how we do it in Ohio. In Ohio, as soon as your absentee ballot arrives at the Board of Elections, there's a bipartisan team, because everything in elections is bipartisan. It takes one Republican and one Democrat to do anything at the Board of Elections. And they open that envelope, they flatten everything out, they check your identification number, they check your signature, check your address, and they get it flattened out and ready to scan, so that tonight right at 7:30, the very first votes counted are those absentee votes. And this is one of those things that there's one of those rumors that goes around that obviously is completely false, that people will say, well, I hear they only count absentee votes if the results are close. That's 100% incorrect. The very first votes to count are those absentee votes. And so when you see results on your favorite television news station at 7:45 or 8 o'clock at night, those first results you're seeing are all early and absentee votes. And then, of course, later on in the night, those polling locations continue to come in. But our goal is this pretty simple mission statement. When Ohioans go to bed tonight, they will know and they will believe the results of the election. They will know those unofficial tabulations tonight, and they will also believe that it was an honest contest, because it is just that here in Ohio.
Let's talk about those machines too. They're not connected to the internet at all. Went on Sunday, got my, you are voting on a machine, but you still get a paper printout. It's a paper ballot essentially that you're getting and then putting into another machine.
Yeah, in a lot of counties, like here in Franklin County, that machine that you're using is basically just the ballot marker. It fills in the marks for you. That's obviously much easier to use, and also helps people get the right number, particularly in a race like some of the city council races this year, where you get to choose a certain number of candidates. One of the benefits of using those voting machines is it helps you get the right number, so you don't overvote or undervote on multi-candidate races like that. But you're right. Voting machines are never connected to the internet. This is something all Ohioans should know. And unfortunately, there's some rumors out there all the time. Even yesterday, there was something going around about there's Wi-Fi at the polling location. Well, of course, at schools and churches and community centers, those are buildings that have Wi-Fi, but don't confuse that with an internet-connected voting machine. We would never allow a voting machine to be connected to the internet. It's not allowed under Ohio law. The machines are not capable of that. And Christine, as you pointed out, there's always that hard copy paper. 100% of ballots in Ohio have a hard copy paper record. Now, there is an electronic tabulation. We use that electronic tabulation because if we didn't, you wouldn't know the results until Thanksgiving. Like seriously, it would take weeks and weeks. But the reason why we have that hard copy piece of paper is so that we can go back and audit the election. A lot of talk about audits right now. We audit every election. We count the hard copy paper. We compare it to the electronic result. Last year, when we did that audit, which by the way was conducted by both Republicans and Democrats who've all taken an oath, when we did that audit last year, we had a 99.98% accuracy rate. I anticipate we're going to have something incredibly high like that when we audit today's election as well.
Awesome. All right, one more chance. Let's get a push out there to vote. Why do you encourage people to get out and vote today one last time?
Your vote is your voice. Elections are determined by those who show up, the quality of the schools our children are educated in, the safety and the prosperity of our local communities, the way justice is delivered in our courts. Those are the decisions that are being made today, along with, here in Central Ohio, a crucial congressional vacancy is about to be filled. And all those are decisions that you only can make if you come to the polls. We make it easy. Do your research at voteohio.gov. Find your polling location at voteohio.gov. Thank those poll workers when you go in to vote. And if you still have an absentee ballot sitting on your kitchen table, don't delay. Get it down to the Board of Elections before 7:30 tonight. That's what you need to know.
Yeah, it is. All right, Secretary of State, thank you so much, as always, for being with us this morning. NBC4i.com, guys. We have everything you need to know about this election. Scroll down if you are watching right now. We've got all the races that we're watching, and then tune in at 7:30 as the results start to roll in. Again, thank you so much, and we will be chatting with you later, Secretary of State.
Take care.